This is the podcast to improve your English listening skills while learning something new in English. Every episode, we bring you interesting topics in simple and clear English, so you can listen, learn, and grow. So, sit back, relax, and let's get started.
All right, diving in today, and we've got a fascinating one. We're going to be looking at the story of
Pitung.
Now, he's a legendary figure from Betawi,
Right.
which, for our listeners who might not know, that's the indigenous culture of Jakarta, Indonesia.
Yep.
And this is all happening back in the Dutch colonial era, so a very particular time and place.
Mm-hmm.
And the source material we've got is a summary of his folktale, kind of gets to the heart of who he was. And I think what we're really interested in here is figuring out why this guy, why his story, why does it still resonate, And what are those values, those core ideas that he's trying to get across?
Yeah, I think that's key because everybody wants to know about Pitung, and we're going to give you, the rundown.
I need to know Pitung.
Exactly.
So starting right at the beginning, who was this guy?
Well, right off the bat, his background's really interesting. He was a Betawi youth, from this place called Rawa in Jakarta.
Okay.
Real name, though, was Salihoin. And it's interesting, that name Pitung, it's thought that it might actually come from the Betawi word for seven. He was the seventh child.
Oh, I see.
Which, already kind of places him within this very specific cultural context.
Right away, yeah. It's baked into his name, this idea of...
It's fate, almost.
Yeah, seventh child, right? So not just any kid from the block, right?
Yeah.
There's something already special about him. And then we get into his upbringing, right? Because it says here, that this wasn't just, everyday life. He actually had a teacher, Haji Naipin, who taught him about Islam and Selamat.
Right. Haji Naipin was key.
The figure.
He wasn't just teaching him religion, he was teaching him silat. And silat is this Indonesian martial art.
Okay, so we're talking serious skills here.
Oh yeah. This is mind, body, spirit all together.
Wow.
But I think what's even more important is that Haji Naipin really instilled in him these strong principles. Justice, courage, this kind of ethical core.
A moral compass, basically.
Yeah, and you need that to understand, his later actions, why he does what he does.
It all comes back to that foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to, I guess, the big question, which is, what made this guy tick? What was it that pushed him to become who he was?
Well, the story's pretty clear about that. Pitung saw suffering everywhere. High taxes, people struggling, wealthy landowners taking advantage of everyone. And then on top of that, you have the Dutch authorities being super harsh. So he felt this urge to act. He couldn't just stand by.
He had to do something.
Exactly. And that's what turns him into this Jagoan Rakyat, which basically means a people's champion.
Okay, champion of people.
Right. And he starts doing what they call rob from the rich, give to the poor. Think Robin Hood kind of thing.
Ah, the classic Robin Hood. Okay.
But this is more than just, charity or being nice.
Right.
This is resistance against colonial exploitation. He's fighting back against the system.
He's taking a stand. Yeah. So how did the Dutch feel about this? I'm guessing not too happy.
Yeah, they were not fans.
Not fans of Robin Hood.
Not fans. They labeled him a dangerous criminal, obviously, right? I mean, they wanted to capture him, put a stop to all this.
Right. And so, I mean, this is where the story, I think, really starts to take on this legendary status, right?
Yeah.
We start hearing about how he was so agile,
Yeah.
so clever, that he could even, some people said he had supernatural abilities.
Right. It's like he could dodge bullets,
Yeah.
People thought he had a magic charm, made him unbeatable.
Like a magical protective kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that really speaks to, what people wanted to believe, that someone could actually stand up to these powerful colonizers and win.
Yeah. There's this hope, right?
Yeah, this hope.
But I mean, the story doesn't have a completely happy ending, right?
No, it doesn't.
Because it says here, eventually he was betrayed.
Betrayed and killed by the Dutch police.
And not in a fair fight.
No, through trickery.
Through trickery.
Which, you see that a lot in these stories of resistance.
Yeah.
When those in power can't win out in the open, they resort to other means.
Right. But even though, he meets this tragic end, he doesn't fade away, does he?
No, not at all. He's still remembered as a hero, the guy who fought for the little guy, for the people who were being oppressed.
So, looking back on everything, what are those core values, those ideas that his story really brings to light? I mean, clearly social justice is huge, sticking up for the vulnerable, fighting oppression.
Oh yeah, that's central. But it's also about courage, right?
Yeah.
The immense bravery it took to do what he did.
To stand up to that kind of power.
Exactly.
And there's that theme of knowledge, right? He wasn't just a brawler. He had this religious understanding, and he had these practical skills from the silence. So, knowledge and morality, they're kind of woven together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's saying something about where true strength comes from,
Yeah.
It's not just physical.
Yeah, it's deeper than that. Mm-hmm. And it's clear that this story, it really stuck with people.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we see that it's been retold in films. It's part of Betawi culture. It's still this symbol, this icon of resistance and bravery.
In Jakarta, especially.
In Jakarta.
Yeah, this is a story that became part of their identity.
And I think what's so powerful is that one person, all right, through his actions and then through how the story was told, it can capture that spirit, like the spirit of an entire community.
Yeah. Their struggles, their resilience, it's all embodied in Si Pitung.
It's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
It makes you think about, are there other figures out there, whether it's history or folklore, that did similar things, fought for the common person against some kind of injustice. And what happens when we start comparing those stories, from different cultures, different backgrounds? Because I think you really start to see how those local legends, they reflect the unique challenges and values of each society. So, something to think about. Thanks for diving in with us.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.